Welcome y bienvenidos to this episode, very special episode of the Cultural Capacity Podcast. I'm one of your hosts and teachers here, Justine Gonzalez, and I am glad to welcome you into the space today. My voice is a little lower. I don't have all of my normal sound equipment. And yes, there's probably a big glare here. You can see my background. I wanted to share this beautiful space with you all and where I'm staying at right now in Puerto Rico. I'm up in the mountains here as well as on the coast. Um, but I wanted to do this episode from here because it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart and actually has to do with some of the changes we're making here at the podcast. So lots of great feedback on some of number one, our featured voices episodes all throughout 2023 and also kicking off 2024. We just have some incredible guests lined up. So you will see us continuing to put out our featured voices cultural capacity episodes. One of the things that myself, as well as my co-host, one of the co-hosts here on the podcast, Kara, has recognized is that we want to make sure we're always being relevant to the needs of our listeners and viewers here on the podcast. So you may see some of the titles change over the next coming months. You're going to see us be doing a lot more practical episodes for you as an individual professional. And this has to do with stories. So I'm going to dive right into one today and why this episode is called Success Redefined. What does it mean to you? Sometimes, and I look around at myself, the reason why this is such a special episode for me to do this is I have often had an issue with anxiety. And I know it's very common for so many of us that we struggle with either moments of anxiety, perhaps in certain settings or situations, we get anxious and we're not sure how to rectify that. But I'm here to tell you that number one, there's hope. There is hope. There are many strategies out there to help all of us, no matter how wild we might feel like our brains are wired sometimes. I am right there with you. Me too. I'm right there with you. Um, but I wanted to put this out there as a topic because I'm seeing more and more people, specifically in their 30s, 40s, even 50s, who are really seriously looking at how do I plan for redefining my path in life? And I think success is such one of those broad topics. If you can comment below, send us a voice memo if you're listening on podcast platforms. But I want to know when did you first start learning about success in your life? What did that look like? What did that feel like? And for me, one of the stories that always comes to mind is growing up with my grandma. My grandma was one of the first people that my paternal grandmother, my grandma Gonzalez on my father's side, she was one of the first people that I really remember seeing what it meant to take care of yourself and your beauty. I would say that for both of my grandmas, actually, both of my grandmothers, they knew how to care for themselves and how to make themselves beautiful. They both had these beautiful closets. Now that I'm thinking this through, both of them, right? And I had these experience with these women who they were just glamorous to me. They were some of my first glimpses at what wealth and glamour could look like, specifically with my paternal grandma. But she is also a person who helped me better see a model of, oh, that could be cool. I might want to do this for my life type thing. And we all have these constant examples since we're young, but sometimes we let other people define what success should look like in our lives. And a lot of that comes from our cultural norms and even what's so prevalent in media, what's being pumped into us daily, whether it's through music, the books we read, the newspaper outlets, the news media outlets, social media, all of these things are coming at us that are trying to tell us how we should be, how we should show up. And I think it's very, very pivotal in all of our careers, no matter where you find yourself in this current moment, that you consider defining what success means to you and how it aligns with your legacy and your path right now that you find yourself on. Myself, this is near and dear to me because as I'm sitting here right now, I never could have predicted, even a year or two ago, that I would be recording a podcast from Puerto Rico right now, doing the things that I'm doing, and having the experiences that I'm having. And a lot of that has to do with my own shortcoming as far as my thinking of what's possible for me. So when you think about defining success in your life, I want you to do an exercise that I actually have found very difficult for myself. Try not to force it to fit into a specific title or degree or job experience that you've had in your life. Try to consider filtering it through your own definition of success. So if you haven't defined what being successful, if being successful to you is having $1 million in the bank, then figure out your action plan for how to achieve that. That's actually a pretty simple, that's what success looks like to you, because you can create a formula, you can apply strategies. For many people, when we dig deeper, though, we find that success is actually not often defined by numbers or the amount of material things you have. It's going a lot deeper into what actually brings me joy and happiness every day. What are the things that light me up that I'm passionate about, that I believe are part of my gifts, part of my calling, and part of the ways that I want to show up every day. That will help me feel successful. So, number one, I think that you should spend time defining what does success mean to you, regardless of your age. Specifically for my people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, this could be redefining what success means to you and what that looks like in your life. And then think about the how. But initially, I think it's really important that we have these moments where we assess what is it that's really making us happy. And it's often not the things that the world tells us are what it means to be successful. It has to be forging our own path and determining this is what being successful looks like, feels like, sounds like, and is to me. And yeah, so here I am. I'm in beautiful Puerto Rico. If you hear a lot of background noise, my dog's barking, there's stray dogs barking, there are roosters crowing, and cockadoodling. So I will leave you with this. Let's continue to get compassionately curious together. Again, you might see some of these titles change, and we are trying to shift and adapt to some more relevant kind of work time storytelling. We have a lot of cool things in store for these episodes, so you're going to want to be sure to hit subscribe right here on YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Thank you and take care.